know the NBA draft is tonight, damn it. I know. But that ain't what's on my mind. I'm going to discuss it, but that ain't what's on my mind. What's on my mind? Let's do that hockey. Y'all ain't seen me since I was at Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals in Florida Monday night. But you about to see me now. The Stephen A. Smith Show coming your way. Let's roll. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do, at the very least 3 times a week over the digital airwaves of YouTube. Just wanted to give major love to all of my followers and subscribers because we've now eclipsed 710,000 subscribers. We continue to climb. That can't happen without the love and support that y'all give me. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Keep the love coming now, so I can keep on coming. And of course, I got to give love to iHeartRadio as well because I deal with iHeart. We've now eclipsed over 1.2 million downloads over the last couple of months. So y'all just giving me all kinds of love. And a brother, appreciate it. Hold on right now. I'm just touched. I'm touched by the love and support because I'm not used to seeing that from folks like that, but I love it. And I appreciate it. Thank y'all so much, okay? To like and continue to follow and subscribe to the show, just click the bell in the right-hand corner, and YouTube will be the latest member of the Stephen A. Smith Show family. A lot of things to get into as the NBA draft rapidly approaches tonight. By the way, I'll be on ABC television with my partner in crime, Bob Myers, the former general manager extraordinaire for the Golden State Warriors, the 4-time champion. He and I will be doing the NBA draft together for ABC, along with the one and only Kevin Nagandi on ESPN, ABC, of course. So look for us there discussing not just the first round of the draft on Wednesday night, but the draft round 2 Thursday night as well. That would be before the President Biden versus Donald Trump debate. Not during, before, because Lord knows I ain't missing that debate. I can promise you that I ain't missing that debate. Having said all of that, that's not what's on my mind at this particular moment. Let me just get this out of the way. I know that the Florida Panthers ultimately nearly blew a 3-0 series lead in the Stanley Cup Finals against the Edmonton Oilers, but they held on and ultimately won Game 7 2-1. Capturing their first Stanley Cup title in their 30th season. By the way, just as an aside, we've now got the Florida Panthers as champions, the Miami Heat as champions, the Miami Marlins as champions. All have won championships since the Miami Dolphins last won a Super Bowl title following the 1973 season. I mean, damn, the Miami Dolphins got something in common with my New York Knicks. They ain't won since 1973 either, my Lord. So we got to take that into consideration. But in all seriousness, major props on several levels. Number one, to the Panthers defense. They put Mr. McJesus himself, the one and only Connor McDavid, held him scoreless. No points, no assists on a total of 2 shots on goals in Game 6 and 7 after he had recorded a Cup Finals record 4 points in consecutive games in Games 4 and 5 with 3 goals and 5 assists. So figure that out. They were able to put him on lock and key in Game 7. Major props to Florida's defense. They were known as having an elite defense. They handled their business. Now, I openly admit I don't know anything about hockey other than the puck is black because I don't follow the sport. But I was there Monday night, and it was one of the most exciting times that I've ever had, and I'm going to make it my business to go to some more hockey games or at the very least watch some more hockey games. I thought I wouldn't like the sport when it turns out the only thing I don't like about it is that the arenas are cold as hell, okay? You could be outside in 95-degree weather. The minute they open the door to a hockey arena, it drops by about 30 degrees in a nanosecond. This shit is cold, okay? But I really did enjoy myself. I really had a good time, all right? I was in attendance, like I told you. They won the game, and props to Florida coach Paul Maurice. 26 seasons, he finally captured his first Stanley Cup championship. By the way, he improved to 5-0 in Game 7s. So this is a guy that's proven that he could coach. He's proven that he knows how to handle his business. Florida held Edmonton to 1 goal after allowing 6 goals per game and getting outscored 18-5 during the 3-game losing streak in Games 4 through 6. So a lot of stuff has to be given credit. Now, here's the controversy in a lot of people's eyes. This guy, Sergei Bobrovsky, goalie for the Panthers, stopped 23 of 24 shots on goal. You had a whole bunch of people out there believing that he should have won a Conn Smythe trophy. He should have been a Conn Smythe trophy winner. That's what they were trying to say. But guess what happened? It went to Connor McDavid. Now, me personally, I can't have a problem with him. When you consider what the brother did, what he brought to the table. I mean, just think about this right here. This is Connor McDavid we're talking about here. Just because I don't cover the sport, just because I don't watch it that much, does not mean I'm not going to know my facts because I'm a reporter by heart. And here's the bottom line. Connor McDavid, 42 points, 8 goals, a single postseason record of 34 assists. Are the fourth most in a single postseason in National Hockey League history behind only Wayne Gretzky, 47 in 1985 and 43 in 1998, okay, and Mario Lemieux with 44 in 1991. They both won a Conn Smythe Award in those seasons as well. His 11 points, I'm talking about Connor McDavid here, his 11 points in the Stanley Cup Final were 2 points shy of tying the Stanley Cup record held by Wayne Gretzky with 13 in 1988. Okay, so we got to take that into consideration. He also became just the 6th player in NHL history to win the Conn Smythe Trophy after losing in the Stanley Cup Finals. So we got to take that into consideration. In the 3 wins they had in this series after being down 3-0, 3 goals, 5 assists for just 8 points. In the 4 losses, 0 goals, 3 assists for 3 points. We got to take all of those things into consideration. Here's my thing. When I look at Connor McDavid, this is the kind of conversation that we have to start having. If we're going to be fair, if we're going to be honest, if we're going to be real about what we're watching, because there's no way around this. When we think about Connor McDavid, as phenomenal and fantastic as he is, and ladies and gentlemen, he is the real deal. Make no mistake about it. We also have to put him in a category. Most league MVP awards with no championships. Right there you see on the full screen, no Canada. Not old Canada, no Canada. As in 31 years since a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup. I'm an American citizen. I don't give a damn about that. That's their issue, not mine. Here's what my issue is. When I watch greatness and I see champions, I'm paying attention. And most league MVP awards without a single championship in each major pro sport. You got Karl Malone and Steve Nash with 2 in the NBA, 2 league MVP awards, no championships. You got Lamar Jackson now with the Baltimore Ravens of the National Football League, 2 league MVPs, no championships. But the second highest person with league MVP awards and no championships is now Connor McDavid. Number 1 is a 7-time league MVP, Barry Bonds in baseball. Now, it's all a team sport, and I get that. But baseball is one of those things where you could be the greatest thing since sliced bread, and there's absolutely nothing you could do. I hold individuals less accountable for not winning in the sport of baseball than I do in any other sport. Lamar Jackson could have made a difference against Patrick Mahomes last year in the AFC Championship game. On the basketball court, Karl Malone, if you're a little bit better than Michael Jordan, you might have had a championship. Steve Nash, if you know, Robert Horry doesn't hip check somebody in the conference finals when you were with the Suns, the Phoenix Suns with their high-powered offense led by Mike D'Antoni as the coach, when you got Joe Johnson and the Matrix, Sean Marion and the rest of the crew, y'all might have won a championship, okay? So it's little things that can happen, but an individual player, an individual greatness can somehow, some way influence things. In baseball, I don't want to hear that. You ever seen a situation where you got cats smacking home runs, smacking RBIs, doing what they do, but a pitcher comes in and stinks up the joint? Y'all ever see that happen? I've seen it happen. So, I mean, if your pitcher don't show up and he ain't on his game and he's getting the ball smacked around the ballpark or out of the ballpark on them, there's nothing an infielder, an outfielder, a catcher can do. There's nothing a manager can do other than take him out. There's plenty of times I've seen that happen. So I'm not going to hold Barry Bonds accountable for not having the chip. When that brother showed, now, if you show up in the World Series and you play like garbage, that's a different matter. But if you show up and you do what we're accustomed to seeing you do and it just don't work out because your other teammates didn't show up, I'm not holding you accountable for that. I'm not holding Barry Bonds accountable for that. Damn that. But Connor McDavid, Monday night, they clamped him, y'all. They clamped him. They keyed up on him. They zeroed in. They focused. They took away space. They took away time. As they say in hockey, that time and space, the narrower it gets, the more difficult the game becomes. That's what they did to Connor McDavid, and as a result, he didn't do anything. And because he didn't do anything, he went home without a championship. 0-4, actually. So that's what I wanted to say about that. Major props to him for winning the Conn Smythe Award, because the Conn Smythe ain't about an MVP performance during the Stanley Cup Finals. It's about what you do throughout the entire playoffs. And clearly, his numbers throughout the playoffs were sensational. He was deserving of the award. But who wants to hear his name called in a losing effort on the road in Florida last night? I'm there. Those people didn't give a damn about Connor McDavid. They would appreciate and respect him, but they were booing because they don't want to hear that shit. Their team won. And Bobrovsky stopped 23 shots in 24 attempts after giving up 18 goals, 18 points in the three previous games. Gave up one in Game 7. That's showing up. That's delivering. I got to give credit and props where credit and props is due. Now let me transition to the NBA draft that's coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what to say about this draft. We are entering the draft, and listen, I'm going to cover it, and I'm not in any way trying to imply that there's not some real talent that's going to be out there for the NBA draft coming up. I'm not trying to imply that at all. I'm just looking at the first round, and just for those of you who don't know, the Atlanta Hawks have the number 1 overall pick. Who knows what they're going to do with Trae Young. The Washington Wizards got the 2nd pick. Houston, via the Brooklyn Nets, they got the 3rd overall pick. San Antonio's got the 4th overall pick to put somebody in that can roll with Wembanyama. The Detroit Pistons are at the 5th pick, okay? They just let go of Coach Monty Williams. Charlotte Hornets are at the 6th pick. Derek Lee, he's a new head coach for the Charlotte Hornets, coming over from Boston as an assistant. Portland Trailblazers, 7th pick. Spurs have the 4th and the 8th pick in the draft because they're getting the 8th pick from Toronto, who just signed Scotty Barnes, about a potential $270 million deal. Lord have mercy, today's NBA economy. What are you talking about here? Memphis Grizzlies at the 9th pick, Utah at the 10th pick, Bulls at the 11th pick, Oklahoma City Thunder at the 12th pick, Kings at the 13th pick, Portland Trailblazers again at the 14th pick. So they got the 7th and the 14th pick. The Spurs have the 4th and the 8th pick in the first round. Those are lottery picks. Of course, Miami and Philadelphia and the Lakers is 15, 16, 17. You know, I'm just looking at some of these things. The New York Knicks have the 24th and 25th pick in the first round. So I'm quite sure there are some interesting players. And in no way am I trying to poo-poo this NBA draft. There's always good guys. But the reality of the situation is when you're looking at what you're talking about, the Hawks are projected to take this guy, Zachary Lassasher, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, small forward out of France, age 19 years of age, got some skills. But their big question is whether or not Trae Young is going to stay or they're going to move on from him. You got this kid, Alex Sarr. He's a power forward / center from Australia. He's 19 years of age. Okay, you got Reed Shepherd, point guard, shooting guard out of Kentucky. He's also 19 years of age. Rockets are talking about taking him. Stephon Castle, he's another point guard out of UConn, just won a national championship. We know what he brings to the table. I mean, you've got some talent here. And I'm looking, and this kid, Dalton Knecht, this small forward out of Tennessee, I watched him during the NCAA tournament. I like that kid. Okay? And Donovan Clingan out of UConn, he's projected to go number 7 with Portland. I'm just looking at some of these guys. Another Kentucky dude, Rob Dillingham out of Kentucky, Cody Williams out of Colorado, he can ball. Nicole Topic out of some Adriatic League, wherever the hell that is. You got Devin Carter. He's a point guard, shooting guard out of Providence. There's some talent. Here's my issue. Very few people give a shit compared to LeBron James' son, Bronny James. And he's not even projected to be a first rounder. We're projecting whether or not he may go 54th or 55th in the NBA draft, okay? And I'm just looking at it from that standpoint. The Boston Celtics have the 54th pick. The Los Angeles Lakers have the 55th pick. Now, let me say this to Bronny James, wishing him nothing but the best. Good kid. Parents are wonderful. I critique LeBron James basketball, some of the basketball stuff. Like having a podcast with J.J. Redick in the middle of the damn season when Darvin Ham's on a hot seat. I don't blame J.J. Redick for that. I blame LeBron James for that, even though I think it was a fabulous podcast and all of this other stuff, which, by the way, J.J. Redick, the new head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers, announced will not be taking place anymore. He will not be podcasting. He will be coaching. So the podcast is over, okay? So be it. At the end of the day, LeBron is not to be questioned as a dad, as a parent, as a father, not at all. And so as we sit here talking about Bronny James, they say he's athletic. They say he can defend. They say he has tremendous upside, but they question whether or not he's ready. We'll find that out. What is undoubtedly so is that all the attention is coming in his direction. He's getting more attention than any pick you can come up with, and we ain't seen that in history. And so that just speaks to the power of LeBron James. Because if LeBron James wasn't that relevant, neither would his son be, at least for the moment. And so that's what we got to think about. We got to take that into consideration, and we got to go from there. All right? I'm looking at, and I think the legitimate question to be asked is, where would be the ideal landing spot for Bronny James? Is it with his dad? Assuming his dad, who's going to exercise his rights to be a free agent, stays in L.A., which he undoubtedly will, probably with a 3-year max deal. Is J.J. Redick, the new coach, the right guy to help out and teach Bronny James what he needs to be taught? Would Bronny James be better off in Boston with the 54th pick? These are legitimate questions. These are legitimate questions. Are you ready for this? If he's worthy of being the 41st pick in the NBA draft, I think the Philadelphia 76ers should look to grab Bronny James. If the Lakers, and I sincerely doubt if Bronny James is available at number 55, that the Lakers are not going to take him. But if somehow, some way that miracle happened, I like Bronny James at number 56 for the Denver Nuggets. Philly and Denver. Why do I say that? Because when you have big men who are the primary offensive option, that takes pressure off the guards to be formidable offensively, and more is required of them defensively and along with their athleticism and their effort. And with Denver having let go of Jeff Green and Bruce Brown, which I believe cost them in these past playoffs, in their 7-game series lost in the semifinals to the Minnesota Timberwolves, I'm of the mindset that Bronny James going someplace where the focal point of the offense is your big, and less of the onus is placed on the shoulders of a guard. Now he gets to go in there, develop his offensive game, but still gives you effort defensively, which is his forte according to the scouts and evaluators. And I think he could benefit extremely well in that regard. That's where I'm coming from. That's all I have to say about that in regards to Bronny James, wishing him nothing but the best. But let me move on because I wanted to get to something in regards to OG Anunoby for the New York Knicks. Now, we all know that I'm a diehard New York Knicks fan. Unrealistic in a lot of ways, I understand that, but damn it, that's what comes with being emotional from time to time. OG Anunoby, who the Knicks were 26-6 with in the 32 regular season and postseason games he actually played in, declined his $19.9 million player option with the New York Knicks for the 2024-25 season. As a result, he's become an unrestricted free agent and can sign with any team, okay? 14-17 in the games he missed, by the way. In the 31 games he missed, that was the Knicks' record without him. 26-6 in the games they played with him. Since the trade in late December, he ranked first in the NBA by holding opponents to 35.7% shooting as the closest defender. The impact on the court, however, was watered down by his lack of availability, like I said, because he was injured. And he has played in an average of 52 games in the past 4 seasons, so durability has not been his thing. And that's something that I'm sure the New York Knicks have to take into consideration. He's an all-NBA defender, make no mistake about it, and he deserves a significant pay increase. I'm not going to question that. The issue is how much. That's what the issue is. You know, the Knicks have been meticulous in structuring, you know, their finances. No player is earning more than $30 million next season. Julius Randle has the highest cap hit at $29 million. So the New York Knicks clearly know what they're doing. They've got a plan. Give Leon Rose, give Worldwide West, William Wesley, give Gershon Rojas and others some credit. They deserve it. Okay? But Anunoby, he could be the first. Is Anunoby worth over $30 million? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. If he's going to be on the basketball court, the way he defends, the guts he shows, etc., as feisty as the New York Knicks is, and he fits right in with their culture, yes, he is. The question is, will the New York Knicks try to draw the line in the sand financially? You got teams like Detroit, Orlando, Oklahoma City, Philadelphia, and Utah all projected to have at least $30 million in room. If OG Anunoby was on Oklahoma City, Lord. But then again, Lou Dort, could you imagine him and Lou Dort on the court with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander defending? My God. And with Anthony Edwards and what you've seen him doing, with Kyrie and Luka and what they're capable of doing, with Paul George, assuming he stays in L.A., with Kawhi Leonard and what they're capable of doing, with KD, Beal, and Booker for the time being in Phoenix and what they're capable of doing, I must confess, the Oklahoma City Thunder should consider OG Anunoby. I would say so. But I hope the New York Knicks keep him. Here's the other thing that I will say. I do think that the New York Knicks, as great as Jalen Brunson has been, as phenomenal as he has been, I must say this. I think Jalen Brunson should not be the number one option. I don't mean he shouldn't be the number one option as if he doesn't deserve it. I mean, if you're the New York Knicks and you're really trying to make some noise, particularly in the Eastern Conference against the team the quality of the Boston Celtics that have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown as cornerstones of their franchise, if you are the New York Knicks, my position is Jalen Brunson shouldn't be that number one option. You should have a number one option better than Jalen Brunson, or you should go out and get a sniper. Now, Paul George is big time and plays on both ends of the court. I personally think he should leave the Clippers because I don't think he should that he should be relying on Kawhi Leonard. But Kawhi Leonard is his boy. Kawhi Leonard is the one that got him from Oklahoma City to Los Angeles by hijacking and blackmailing the Los Angeles Clippers franchise by threatening them to take his services to the Lakers if they didn't bilk everything to get Paul George. Okay? So I understand that, and he has a loyalty to Kawhi Leonard, the perpetually injured Kawhi Leonard, who's never going to have a healthy postseason as far as I'm concerned. I just don't believe it. I got to see it to believe it. If I'm Paul George, I think about moving on. Philadelphia or New York. You could say Philadelphia is the better option, but that's imagining that Joel Embiid is going to be healthy along with Tyrese Maxey. You would be right. But since Joel Embiid's health is never a reliable commodity to have at your disposal, I would tell you Paul George in New York would be just fine too. But let me tell you what I don't want to rule out. Klay Thompson. I don't know what the hell is wrong with some of you people. Now, I know that Klay Thompson is Klay Thompson. He struggled this year, okay? Shot like 43% from the field, 39% from three-point range. That was a career low. Shooting, average scoring 17 points a game. I get all that. That was a career low. But I just told you that Klay Thompson averaged 17 points on 39% shooting from three-point range. You know how many people in the league can do that? You know how many people? You know that 95% of the NBA cannot do that, right? This is Klay Thompson we talk about. This is a four-time champion. This is one of the greatest shooters in the history of the NBA we're talking about here. The hell is wrong with y'all? This is Klay Thompson. And by the way, did you know that after the All-Star break, Klay Thompson shot 45% from the field and 42% from three-point range and averaged over 20 a game? After the All-Star break, keep sleeping on that brother you want to. You don't want him no more, Golden State. Let that brother come to New York City and watch what I do. I'll throw a party. Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, Josh Hart and those boys got somebody like Klay Thompson to spell for them, or they spell for him, and you kicking it out to that brother to give him open shots, I'll bet my money on Klay Thompson. That brother's special. I don't know if Golden State's going to lose him or not. I don't know if he wants to leave. But Klay Thompson, just a little nugget of information. You want your money, right? Did you know that the taxes in New York, the income taxes, are hovering around close to 9%? Did you know that in the state of California, it's at 14.4? Do you know that if those representatives, those legislators, legislators, right, in California, do you know if they had their druthers, it would elevate to 16.8%? Did you know that? Want to keep your money? I'm not saying New York is the ideal option, because there are states with no state income taxes, but New York is a hell of a lot better option than California. I'm just saying, Clay. I'm just saying. Moving on, I got some other stuff to get into. We can act like you don't want to talk about a debate, but damn it, you need to. This debate coming up with former President Donald Trump versus current President Joe Biden is this Thursday night in Atlanta, Georgia. You better pay attention, y'all. Now, it's going to be hosted and conducted by some folks, I believe, for CNN. They'll have their questions. I got some questions that I want them to ask. What could that possibly be? Stick around. Your boy Stephen A will tell you in a minute. You're listening to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here over iHeartRadio. And of course, you're watching the Stephen A. Smith Show over the digital airwaves of YouTube. Back with more in a minute. All right, everybody, you know what time it is. It's time for Stephen A's Weekly Picks. If you're a sports fanatic like me, then you can't just watch the games. You need to be a part of it all. So how do I do that? I play Prize Picks, of course. Prize Picks, in case you didn't know, is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game where you select 2, 3, even up to 6 players and choose if they will have more or less than their projected in-game stats. It takes less than 60 seconds to make your picks and puts you right in the middle of the game time action. So pick the stats of all your favorite players. Ohtani, Caitlin Clark, even Cristiano Ronaldo, okay? And if you go to prizepicks.com right now and use promo code SAS, you'll receive a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That ain't no joke. So go to prizepicks.com. Type in my initials SAS for a first-time deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's really that easy. Today, however, I will not be selecting any players or sports. I want to go off topic, all right? That's right. I'm selecting either more or less than 14 and a half flights taken per month. That's what y'all asking me? That's what you asking me? Contrary to popular belief, do you know what? The number's less. Now, once upon a time, it was more. When I was a beat writer for the Philadelphia 76ers, when I was covering the NBA for the Philadelphia Inquirer newspaper all of those years, I was on the road over 220 days per year. So I was always in the air. I was always flying all over the damn place. It was wild. But as I've grown, as I've aged beautifully, I might add, as I have been accumulating more time in television studios, as I've flown across country, I've actually flown less. Because if you're flying from New York to LA, like I do a lot, or back from LA to New York, like I do a lot, because I'm bi-coastal, guess what? You ain't going to these places for 1 or 2 days. You staying a little while, because those are some long-ass flights. So guess what? The number's at about 10. That would be less than 14 and a half. That is what I do. I'm usually with more on a lot of these topics. Every now and then, less can actually be better. Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airways of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. Switching to politics because that is something that affects the lives of every single American citizen, so it's something that we should pay attention to. Sports are games. We can always choose to turn that on and off. We can't turn off our lives, you know what I'm saying? Politics do matter, unfortunately, by the way. Anyway, President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump are set to face off tomorrow night in the first presidential debate of the cycle. The debate will be hosted at CNN's Atlanta studios at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's the first debate between a sitting president and a former president, and is one of only 2 scheduled debates in the 2024 race as of now. The next is slated for September 10th. The debate settings are a departure from previous election years, just so you know, traditionally held by the Nonpartisan Commission on Presidential Debates, which has overseen presidential debates since 1988. The Biden campaign said the president would not participate in debates sponsored by the commission due to what it said was an unwillingness to enforce the rules during the 2020 debate. If you remember, in those debates in 2020, Donald Trump interrupted Biden, according to reports, at least 70 times. This time around, microphones will be muted when somebody is talking and the other is listening. Of course, they'll have 2 minutes to give an answer to the questions from one of the moderators, which is scheduled to be Jake Tapper and Dana Bash from CNN. You'll have 1 minute for your rebuttal. And then after that, you'll get an additional minute to come back and piggyback off of the rebuttal statements that were made against you. And Bash and Tapper will use their discretion to decide if any further dialogue will be allowed on that particular subject. It gets interesting to me from the CNN standpoint in this one way. I'm not trying to judge or sit here and be judge and jury against the CNN network. I don't do that to my colleagues, but the bottom line is we are talking about a presidential debate, and it is the fourth estate, and we have an obligation to make sure that we are as objective as we possibly can be. So it can't be one of those situations where Bash and Tapper come across as being biased when the CNN network has been accused primarily by Donald Trump over the years for being fake news and for having a bias in favor of liberals as opposed to conservatives. This is what some of them say. I will say this to you. Say what you want about Fox News collectively and overall, even though I'm a Neil Cavuto fan. I can tell you that right now. I'm a big-time Neil Cavuto fan. I think that he's very Brett Baer, I'm another fan of his. Watch his interview when he sat down with Donald Trump, and he picked apart what Donald Trump said and how he insulted an abundance of cabinet members that he had initially hired. I find them to be very credible, and I thought the job that Sean Hannity did with the debate between California Governor Gavin Newsom and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, I think it was up to snuff. And I believe that Tapper and Bash will be up to snuff, and they'll be up for the challenge this Thursday night, tomorrow night. So let me just get that out of the way. I just think it's important to mention. Here's the other thing. When you're talking about Donald Trump and you're talking about Joe Biden, and you're talking about what we are looking for in this debate, here's the question. What are we looking for? Let's call it what it is. One less than the other, we're looking for stability. We're looking for cogency. Trump has sounded a little bit out there. I know we get on Joe Biden for mumbling and bumbling and all that stuff. He's 81 years of age. He looks it at times, the way he walks and how unstable he appears. Definitely appears to be the case at times. Sometimes when he drifts off a little bit and he starts mumbling, we just don't see him to be as sharp as he once was, okay? But he's still our president, and a lot of people believe that he's doing an outstanding job. If you're a leftist, if you're a liberal, you think he's doing a great job. If you're a conservative, you think he's doing a terrible job. In the case of Donald Trump, he's 78 years of age, not 81 like Joe Biden, approaching 32 years of age, but 78. But there have been times where Donald Trump has sounded a bit wild, a bit out there, to say the least, even though he definitely seems more energetic than Joe Biden. Here's where it gets tricky. If you're Donald Trump, you can't go out there Thursday night and Joe Biden looks more together than you. He can't look more cogent. He can't look more stable. More importantly, he can't mumble less than you, Donald Trump. That cannot happen. One could easily argue that the kind of pressure that Donald Trump is under right now is more pressure than he has ever been on a debate stage, because he's a former president and he's trying to get back into the White House. And as a result, you have been leaning on Joe Biden being this god-awful president. Well, what stats will you have to back that up? Are you going to lean on the economy? You're certainly going to lean on the borders. Even Andrew Cuomo went on Real Time with Bill Maher, along with Bill Maher, lamenting the lack of a plan that Joe Biden and his administration and the liberals had as it pertained to our borders, having open borders with no plan whatsoever to take care of the folks that you let into the country. Now, that to me is the easiest fight that Donald Trump is going to have on his hands. The economy is another matter, okay? International relations, global relations, geopolitical stuff, that's another matter. We shall see. But the border is his issue that he should lean on. And outside of that, it's really, really about cogency and togetherness and how astute and sharp you truly, truly are compared to Joe Biden, because you made that an issue for Joe Biden. So if you go out there looking less stable or just as bad as you pretend Joe Biden would look, how's that going to make you look? If you're Joe Biden, I hate bringing this up about the age, about the togetherness, about the cogency. I voted for the man. I'm going to vote for him again. But I tell you this, that don't mean I got to be happy about it. And so that's one of the things that pisses me off about the liberals. You know, you can sit up there and say, I'm going to vote for this person. They want you to be happy about it. You want me to give you a George Foreman smile. Oh, look at this. Oh, things are so great. Really? You sure about that? Our borders are not an issue? Folks coming into the country illegally are not an issue? Illegal immigrants being given prepaid credit cards, that's not an issue? New York okaying $53 million to spend, that ain't an issue? Violence in the streets of America, that's not an issue? People getting arrested for assault, people getting arrested for robbery, people getting arrested for all types of stuff and getting out of jail the same day, that ain't an issue? Some of the more prominent blue states in the country looking to raise taxes at every turn, primarily primarily California and New Jersey, if not New York. That ain't an issue? So all things are not bad, all things are not perfect. Each side has an argument to make. It comes down to two relatively unpopular candidates. Me personally, I wish Michelle Obama was running. Me personally, I would root for Gavin Newsom if he wasn't the governor of California, living around 14.4% of state income taxes and folks trying to elevate it above 16%. He can't win a general election, in my opinion, with those kind of stats that are being thrown out there. But he looks damn good in those blue suits. I tell you that much. He looks very presidential. But he ain't running. Kamala Harris, the vice president of the United States, clearly being held back by the Biden administration. But what have you done to really stand out and step out to be a candidate in the event that Biden wouldn't be in this position, which some people have speculated about? These are questions. I'm not making any accusations. I'm saying all of that stuff is on the line because if Biden shows up Thursday night and he is an unmitigated disaster, you're going to have people clamoring for him to step aside for the betterment of the party and the country and to let somebody like a Kamala Harris or another candidate step in and go up against Donald Trump themselves. That's what you're going to see transpire. That's what you're going to see. So it's incredibly important that President Joe Biden show up Thursday night and he is as sharp as a tack. He is as sharp as he was the night he gave the State of the Union address months ago, at least in the eyes of some of the liberals and what they were saying. He's got to show up and he's got to upstage former President Donald Trump. I will give Joe Biden credit. Everybody knows that when you're the incumbent, you're a president, and you engage in a debate, you have very little to gain and an awful lot to lose. So why is he taking this? You know why he's taking this? I'm going to tell you, and I'm just guessing. I think Joe Biden is supremely confident that he knows the issues a hell of a lot better than former President Donald Trump. He knows the issues. He can articulate his position on the issues. And his belief is all I have to do is show that I'm spry, that I'm cogent, that I'm up for the challenge of doing 4 more years of this. That's what Joe Biden is saying. That's how he's feeling. Because you got to remember, when Donald Trump was asked to prep for a presidential debate in 2020, remember he was being prepped to some degree by former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. Do y'all remember that? I do. And I remember when he was being prepped, according to the reports, he says, Trump, I know how to do this. I'm already the president. But that was after he walked into the meeting and said, what the F am I doing here? I'm reading from an article in the Washington Post as we speak. Christie, who was running the exercise, gave him a list of his predecessors who had coasted on similar self-confidence as they ran for a second term, only to belly flop in their first debates. Christie recounted the episode in his 2021 book, Republican Rescue. And then, if you remember, Donald Trump got shellacked in the first debate. He interrupted Joe Biden at every turn when Christie specifically advised him, shut up, be quiet, let Joe Biden speak. He, quote, in the book, Christie's parting admonition to Trump was, let Biden talk, he'll hang himself. And Trump wouldn't listen. And according to a Washington Post count, had interrupted Biden more than 70 times. So now there's no audience to feed off of. You're not going to be interrupted by cheers and boos. You're not going to be interrupted by noise. You're going to be muted when it's not your turn to talk, so you have no choice but to listen to the other party, and they have no choice but to listen to you. And it's going to be a debate. And it could be on the pertinent issues, the war in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia, the Israeli-Palestinian conflict that's still ongoing, and the lives that have been lost since that time, intentionally, accidentally, and otherwise. You got all of that going on, pro-Palestinian supporters, pro-Israeli supporters. They got to comment on that. They got to speak on the economy. They got to speak on national security. They got to speak on our borders. They got to speak on crime and safety in this country. They got to speak on all of that. And all of us need to be watching, because in case you haven't noticed, our lives have been profoundly impacted more than we ever imagined. We got shit to deal with. And this is where it starts, by deciphering who's going to be the better person for presidency of the United States from the year 2025 for 4 years. I can't wait for the debate. I think all of y'all should be on top of your P's and Q's looking at this. To me, it ain't even coming down to the issues, because we know where both stand. It's about who looks sharper. We assumed it would be Trump because of all the fumbles we've seen from Joe Biden. Let's see what Trump does Thursday night in Atlanta, Georgia. That's all I got to say about that. Coming up, Will Smith is set to perform on a big stage this weekend. I'll tell you where next up. And of course, I'll get to my tweets as well, so stick around. You're watching The Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airwaves of YouTube, and you're listening to The Stephen A. Smith Show on iHeartRadio. Back with more in a minute. Everyone knows I live and breathe sports and that I have to be part of all the big games. But how do I do that exactly? I use PrizePicks, of course, the largest fantasy sports platform in all of the land with over 3 million members. All you do is select 2 or more players from your favorite sport, the WNBA, MLB, tennis, golf, even boxing, all right? And then choose more or less on their projected in-game stats. And not only fills my need for the big-time action, but it's incredibly easy to play and takes just 60 seconds to make your picks. So if you're like me and know everything in the world of sports and pick correctly, you'll have a chance to win some major league money. And get this, PrizePicks will match your first deposit of up to $100. That's right. Go to prizepicks.com and use code SAS for a first deposit match of up to $100. You heard me. That is code SAS when you go to prizepicks.com. Pick more, pick less. It's really that easy. It takes a lot to run your own business. And with prices rising on everything from accounting to billing and payroll, and now, of course, much more than it used to. And that's why, to reduce expenses and added headaches, smart businesses are graduating to NetSuite by Oracle. You see, NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, even HR into one platform and one source of truth. With NetSuite, you reduce IT costs and cut the cost of maintaining multiple systems because you've got one unified business management suite. You improve efficiency by bringing all your major business processes into one platform, slashing manual tasks and errors. Do the math. The less your business spends on operations in multiple systems, the more margins you have and money you keep. Over 37,000 companies have already made the move. So go now and see how you'll profit with NetSuite. And by popular demand, NetSuite has extended its one-of-a-kind flexible financing program for a few more weeks. So head to netsuite.com/SAS. That's netsuite.com/SAS. I'm going to say it one more time. netsuite.com/SAS. Some people, not all, but some people think just putting some money aside is enough to save. Why? When you can do more with it? Not letting your money sit and collect dust. That's real saving. If you could deposit your paycheck on Cash App at no cost and watch your money grow, would you? I'm talking about collecting up to 4.5% interest on your cash. Cash App is offering high yield savings. It pays to get paid on Cash App. Deposit your paycheck on Cash App and you can earn a high yield at no cost. Here's the list of no-cost things provided by Cash App. Interest on your account, 4.5 interest paycheck deposit. Now that's something to think about. Cash App allows you to deposit your paycheck on Cash App and watch your money grow. Stop sitting on the bench with people who can't play and get into the savings game with Cash App. Deposit your paycheck on Cash App and you're not paying a cent in fees on your savings to watch your money grow and grow and grow. That's money, y'all. That's Cash App. Download Cash App from App Store or Google Play Store today. Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airwaves of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. Let's get to the world of pop culture and entertainment. This Sunday, June 30th, Oscar and Grammy-winning superstar Will Smith is set to hit the stage at the 2024 BET Awards, where he'll debut a new song, his first solo material in over 5 years. The special performance will take place during the live telecast, which will be hosted by the phenomenal actress that is Taraji P. Henson. Will Smith, we know how I felt about what happened. We also know how I felt primarily about how it affected black folks. Himself, Will Packer, first African-American producer in the history of the Oscars, and of course, Antoine Fuqua, who Will Smith did Emancipation with, and both him, Will Smith, and Antoine Fuqua, as far as I'm concerned, should have won an Oscar for that. And if the incident with Chris Rock had not happened, who knows? But the reality is I'm going to be sincere and authentic with what I said upon reflection just a couple of weeks ago when Bad Boys came out, hit theaters, and obviously was highly successful. Will Smith is one of the great ones. Not just the great actors, not just the most accomplished individuals, but great people. This is what I've heard from numerous people who have known him over the years. He's a special brother who's done a lot of special things for a lot of people, especially people within our own community. And one hiccup doesn't define a man for the rest of his life. So be it, fair enough. And Will Smith going out there and performing at the BET Awards, all right, if that's cool, I hope the music is fly. I hope he does his thing. I hope he's doing what he has to do. It's clearly an effort to re-ingratiate himself with our community. I got news for you. He doesn't really need to. Everybody showed up for the movies, I can tell you that much. Bad Boys was it's a pretty damn good movie. It really, really was. It really, really was. And I'm going to tell you something as well, and I don't want to veer too much off subject. I'm going to say this. Will Smith doesn't have to do Bad Boys. So Will Smith doesn't have to do a lot of things because he's accomplished that much in his life and in his career. And when I see him on Bad Boys, and I don't know anything about Martin Lawrence other than the fact he's one of the greatest comedians who's ever lived. He does phenomenal work. He's still funny as hell. And my gratitude and love is always towards Martin Lawrence because I still watch episodes of Martin every night. Every night. He's just that hysterical. Because you talk about a person that we owe so much to as a society. This guy is so funny. He's provided so much laughter. And along the way, he has stood tall and taken issues to help black comedians, to help black Hollywood, and all of this stuff. I mean, and I remember, you know, listen, with Martin Lawrence and some of his challenges, I don't know this as fact, but I've been told that if folks had their druthers, they would have had Will Smith do Bad Boys with somebody else other than Martin Lawrence. And it was stopped in a nanosecond. Because even though Martin Lawrence is the one that originally brought Will Smith on, Will Smith is the star who has ascended over the years. And he's the one that has that kind of cachet. And he's the one that made it very, very clear. Ain't no way in hell we doing anything without my man, Martin Lawrence. You talk about somebody to love and revere because of all the laughter and the giggles and everything else that he's brought to our lives. It's that Martin Lawrence. Anybody who got that kind of love for Martin Lawrence is good with me. So I wish Will Smith nothing but the best. Wish him nothing but luck. I hope he turns it out and he gets the love and support that he clearly craves. I hope he gets it. I'll be watching. I can tell you that much. I will damn sure be watching. By the way, moving on to my last subject for the show before I go on to my tweets, let me tell y'all what the hell is going on. See, this world is crazy. Some of y'all out there don't know what y'all doing. I mean, y'all need to pray. Because you know you desperate when I bring up this next subject, this last subject. Did you know people are apparently now buying or trying to buy their way into heaven? I don't mean this facetiously or indirectly. I'm serious. There are people actually doing this. Here's the story. The pastor of a Christian church in Mexico is going viral for selling plots of land in heaven for $100 per square meter. The pastor claims that he spoke to God in 2017, and God himself authorized him to sell the plots. A brochure circulating online features details on how to purchase plots with payment options. Oh, get this. Payment options that include Visa, MasterCard, Google Pay, American Express, Apple Pay. Purchasers can also pay in installments on a payment plan. The church is said to have made thousands of dollars on the purchases. Few questions. Number one, the pastor. If God authorized you to sell the land in heaven, why the hell ain't you there? I mean, who wants to stay on earth? Let's do this in its proper perspective. Who the hell wants to stay on earth if I know that I'm going to heaven? That's number one. Let's get that out the way. Number two, sell. What good is a man who profits the whole world but loses his own soul? But this is what God told you to do, huh? Profit off of people who are trying to buy their way into heaven. Everybody knows God focuses on your works, your deeds, your actions, what's a part of your spirit and your soul, not what you can buy. If that's the case, every billionaire you can think of is on their way to heaven. Number three, Google, Apple, Amex, Visa, MasterCard. How are you allowing this? How are you allowing this? Now, usually I don't cuss when I'm talking about religion, but I think it's apropos here. How are you allowing this shit? How are you allowing somebody to use your commodity, your entity, whatever it is, to sell something like this? You got to be kidding me. That's how desperate you are. And if you're willing to buy, you know what that says? I'd rather buy it. That way I don't have to put in the work. I don't have to conduct myself like a decent human being. All I have to do is open my wallet right here and come out of pocket. All right, I kill somebody. I assault somebody. I insult somebody. I denigrate somebody. I lie on somebody. I malign and slander somebody. I do any of these things. Here's some money. Yeah, here's some money. You take it. You take it right now. Okay? Then I can go to heaven. Really? That's what we doing? That's what we doing? It's kind of funny to people, and I understand that, until you realize how sick and demented it truly is. It's a damn shame. It really, really is. Let me go to the tweets before I get on out of here for the day. All right? I appreciate y'all tuning into the show. I only got one tweet I'm going to read today because I'm really not enamored with too many of these that I've seen, to be quite honest with you. But somebody sent me in a tweet at the Packer Yacker, right? Stephen A., how was your experience watching hockey in person? Have your feelings towards the sport changed? Would you watch again? First of all, my feelings have drastically changed. I had a great time in Game 7. The environment, the excitement, no joke. I'm watching guys. I'm watching them turn over the puck. I'm watching them force the issue. I'm watching the physicality. I'm watching the speed. I mean, Connor McDavid, watching him skate, even though Game 7 wasn't his shining moment, wasn't his shiniest moment or shining moment, I must confess, watching him skate is a little bit different than watching everybody else. This brother's something else. Make no mistake about it. He that kind of dude. Him on skates, he just seemed to move faster than most people. So my feelings have changed about the sport. I like it a lot. I damn sure I'm going to watch it more, watch it again, develop and elevate my understanding of the sport. The experience was great, but I also had the luxury of being in the booth with the commissioner of the National Hockey League, Gary Bettman. And I was in there with my brother, Charles Barkley, as well. So I had a lot of fun chilling in the booth. I got to give credit where credit is due in that regard. When you got that kind of company, when you're in the presence of those kind of folks that were class personified and treated us fantastic, it's easy to want to go back. I'll say that. But I enjoy the sport. It's faster than I thought it was. It's more exciting than I thought it was. The climate is big time. No question about it. I actually had a better time there than I had watching the finals of the NBA. But that wasn't because I love hockey more than I love my basketball. It was because this was a Game 7, a highly competitive series between the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers. It was not Boston beating down the Dallas Mavericks. That would contribute to the excitement or dilute from it, depending on which angle you take. That's it for today's edition. I got to get on out of here. I got to get ready to do the NBA draft tonight on ABC television with my man Bob Myers and Kevin Nagandi. Appreciate y'all tuning into the show. I'll be back in a couple of days. Make sure to look for me. Make sure to holler at me. And remember, your boy got nothing but love for you. I'm having a beautiful life. I'm wishing nothing but the same for you. Until next time, everybody, peace and love. Thanks for the love and support, and keep those subscribers now having elevated above 7,000 and 10,000. Keep it climbing. iHeartRadio, keep those downloads climbing as well. Appreciate y'all, and I'll see you soon. Peace and love.